talking about functional
I'm
or
talking about
what?
Dr. Dinners. Let's
Dr.
start
Dick?
with peaches.
Okay, I'm not that familiar with that, but as soon as you say stars and stuff, it reminds me of the women.
Oh, yes, that was
Birch. White face, this is good. What would you like to introduce this time here? I'll stay for this time. I'd love to get things started. And you feel something like that? Or
so. I'm just, all I have is answering questions, so.
okay. Well, it's good to know. Now, whatever.
It seems to get real quiet, but you're something.
Yeah. Okay. I'll hold this there again.
Okay. It gives me joy to be able to introduce to you Kyla Plett. Actually, I'm not really introducing her to you, but it gives me joy that she's here. And basically, this time of adult Sunday school is going to be Q&A. And I'm not sure if she's going to have questions for you, but you better get your answers ready. But I think we can ask her questions, preferably about Thompson and ministry, not too much personal stuff. That's right. You'll be able to handle that though, if it gets too personal. I want to say something about you, Kyla, that has impacted me from young on. And it's just a little bit of a trip down memory lane. Most of you. Yeah, well, at least half of you probably don't really remember Kyla when she was the age of like Judah and Rose, right? I do. And those are some fun memories. That's when we lived in the fourplex Darnell and Emily owned. And Kyla was just a smiley presence wherever she went. And you guys, maybe as parents, I've seen the other side too at that age, but I just remember how she would come up to me and just be very interested in just about anything that I was up to. It could have been me just going to get the mail or whatever, right on the yard there. And I remember you being just a cheery presence wherever you went. Like it's like, you know, the sunshine lit up even more when you're around or whatever. And not afraid. Just nope. You're just you're there and happy to be involved already at a young age. And I think it's just so neat how now fast forward and I still sense this joy about you. And I know that you've, like all of us, you have your times of discouragement and all that. But as I saw the smile on your face again this morning and just the way you were sharing during the service, it reminded me of that. And I think that's a gift that you've been given. And I don't doubt for even a second that gift shatters a lot of darkness in the world that you're ministering in. Joy can do that, right? Like it penetrates darkness almost unlike anything else. So yeah, I was intrigued from years back, and I continue to be intrigued and blessed with your perspective. And wow, when you said it's been 9 years, I thought, wow, does time ever fly? Like 9 years, right? Wow. Well, that's exciting. Anyway, I'll start off by asking a question, and maybe that'll get some of the rest of you going. But when it comes to the slideshows that you present, I noticed that you didn't show a lot of faces, like close-ups. There were only a few that we kind of got to see a little bit closer up. So what is part of that decision-making process? Like, is there a request for how would I put this? Like, some people don't want to be on a public display, let's say. Do you get a lot of that with, like, oh, we don't want this picture on a presentation, please, or that kind of thing? Or do they just trust that you're going to have discernment with that, or how does that go? Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody that comes to camp, they sign a waiver that they are okay with their picture being on public stuff. There's some parents that request specifically their kids are not, so then we go make sure that they are not posted on anything. Yeah, otherwise, generally, I try not to like send a lot of pictures. Like post stuff in my newsletter or whatever that are kids that have not signed that waiver, or where you can see the faces really well. So like some of the kids, I'm not like it's extremely strict about that. There hasn't been a lot of requests from parents, but that would be kind of what goes into that. Yeah. Any other questions?
One thing I'll mention is, I think, is this going to be recorded? So if you don't mind, just give me a brief summary of whatever question that's asked and then answer it.
That I can do.
People can, yeah, be able to. I have a question that you probably won't be able to answer.
Okay.
But when you are, when do you expect the new site to be up and running?
The question is, when we expect the new site to be up and running, we are planning to do one more year at our current site and then have it hopefully built by the next year and ready to go. Yeah.
So along those lines, what would be like you're not going to, are you going to build all the buildings at one time, or kind of one building first, and what would that building be?
What we're going to build first is, we plan to build one main lodge that is a year-round thing that has the dining hall, chapel, all a part of that. I think the plan is to have a section of it that is able to be used year-round for people to be staying there, bathrooms, kitchen, and then have kind of decks on the outside that we can put up a wedding tent for the chapel and for the dining room for the summertime. So then it is less effort to do a big thing right away. All the cabins are going to be yurt style or teepee style on a platform. So it is something very much like a work group could come and build a few platforms within a day or within a week and put that together. And then there's less building codes for temporary structures too than full cabins. So the main building probably will be first, and then adding on cabins as we go for as many people as can come. And outhouses, that would probably be high on the list too. Yeah. We're planning to do it all with volunteer labor as much as we can. So I think we're hiring people to do the driveway, but there have been already people clearing it, or my coworkers have been clearing it for the firewood already. So yeah.
What was one of your highlights of the camp season?
Ooh, highlight this last summer. I think seeing like different staff working together, going from, some of the people that I have mentored for many years, going from just being people that I mentored to being my friends and my equals, and just, well, mainly females, but like my sisters, where we both are reaching into each other's lives and encouraging each other and lifting each other up. And was something that really hit me this last summer, I think, was how that's kind of what it's supposed to be, but it's just exciting when it happens.
So you've been there 9 years. How have you seen, the culture change, or has the culture changed up there? Are you dealing with very similar things now as they were when you first went up there? Or has some of those culture struggles and different things changed over the 9 years?
Okay, so the question is, what has changed, even culturally or with the youth, over the last 9 years? I think there definitely has been like this slow change, even more social media, even more connecting with stuff, and especially after COVID, the struggle with sexual identity has gotten that much stronger. It was already huge before that, but it feels like it is multiplied by 20 now, maybe, what it was. So, yeah, that has definitely been a change over the years. And maybe some kids maybe have more, I don't know. I'll have to think about that more, actually. Yeah, good question. Definitely social anxiety was there from the beginning, and in some cases has gotten worse, and in some cases there's other kids that just don't care and just have way more boldness. So I don't know what to attribute that to, or if it's just the specific kids, or yeah.
So I noticed that when you were mentioning one of the youth, she said, I'm going to spend some Jesus time.
Mm-hmm.
So when they kind of decide that they want to follow Jesus or are interested in Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
is there a like black and white kind of these people don't follow Jesus and these people are interested in follow Jesus? Like is there a clean cut you like really see the difference that? I think my question is like I think here in the South, which is funny to say that we're in the South, it's kind of homogenous. You don't know who's a believer. Is it different in the North? Like, do people kind of stick out for being followers of Jesus?
So the question is there a big difference between people who follow Jesus than people who do not follow Jesus? Or is it very clear when they accept Christ? I think in some cases it is a very gradual thing where it's like, oh, I thought they were a believer for a while. And it's like, oh, you only just accepted Christ now? Okay. So where there is interest and it's a slow growth to get to that point. Then there are other people where it's like, okay, now I want to follow Jesus, change everything. And oftentimes it's a slow grow to get to that point where it's a slowly sacrificing sin. And then suddenly it'll be a full in all the way. And then it's like, oh wait, I miss those things. And a little bit going back, but not to the same extent. And then finally coming back to steadiness. So I think it goes back and forth a little bit. Probably similar as it would be here. There would be some, yeah, especially older believers where I've known, like I know that they're a Christian, but then they're like, grandkids or their nieces or nephews, or it's like, wait, they're a Christian? I never knew that. And so it's maybe not talked about in the same way. But then, yeah, some young people would be very open with it and some wouldn't be. So I think it changes very much, similar to here.
Because I know when we were driving through Thompson, I saw this Bible verse. Like the first thing we saw was a Bible verse. And it's like, okay, I heard that Thompson was very dark. The first thing I see is a Bible verse. And I think it's quite a few churches, too, that surprised me.
Yeah, there are quite a few churches, but they're very, very small. Right. Like probably the biggest church is the church I attend, which maybe has 90 people on a Sunday. So there was a bigger church, but yeah, people have been attending there less and less. So there are a number of churches, but some would have a congregation of 10 or 5 or 30. So yeah, it is dark. That Bible verse, I actually know was put up by the High German Church that is in Thompson, where a group came from, I think, the Winkler area and felt that they hadn't been reaching out and they wanted to do ministry. So they started sending up groups to do Sunday school in Nelson House and Split Lake. Nelson House, it was every other week, in Split Lake every 3 weeks, and they've been going since before I moved to Thompson. So
from Winkler?
Yeah.
Every what week?
Every 2 weeks to Nelson House, yeah. And so now a number of them, they sent up missionaries that live in Thompson and then go into different communities. And they have, their own church now. They have their own Christian school for their own kids. And so it's a neat, very conservative High German church that is in Thompson. And we were there as a camp staff this summer too, and they welcomed us. So that was neat. Yeah.
Oh, is that the camp that, I call it Thomas, but it's not his name. Is that?
Oh. Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't think any of our full-time staff go to that church, but we know them.
No, I mean,
Oh.
not go to church. Did they go to the camp? You said one of them.
Oh.
Camp that they,
Our camp staff went and worked at the church.
at the church.
or when not and worked at the church, we attended the church for a Sunday morning service. Yeah. Yeah. But I think, yeah, it wasn't High German, but while we were there, then they spoke mostly in English, and their hymns were in English as well. But, yeah.
So these, you said some 90, some 12-year-olds, all around, like, how big area is that big? That's Nelson Mills, I've never been there.
Oh, yeah. The 90, it was 90, 12 to like 17, 18-year-olds. So like within camp age kind of kids, or yeah, there were, yeah, over 90. That is mostly Thompson, Split Lake, and Nelson House. There are a few in York Landing, a few in Oxford House, which is also a reserve where kids come to camp from there as well. So yeah, mostly within Thompson, Nelson House, and Split Lake. Yeah. It would be, mostly within 150 kilometers for sure. Yeah, maybe 200. But that is, there's Thompson, and then the next community along the road is Nelson House. The next community on the road this way is Split Lake. So it is far a long distance, but it is the next possible place to go.
Distances seem to be much longer up there. Here, it'd be like driving that driveway from Morton every week for salt. And that's just what she does.
I'll regularly hang out with a youth, and people love going for drives, so we'll drive 90 kilometers round trip just for the fun of it together and have our drinks and listen to music. So that's just what you do to relax and hang out. Yeah.
With your interest and skills in foraging and plants and stuff, are there opportunity, I know you've talked about some maybe opportunities of incorporating that more into camp stuff or other ministry of teaching some of those skills. You want to give us more information on that?
So Jesse asked about my interest in foraging and stuff and how that could work in future ministry and implementing those skills. Yes, I very much like foraging, and I bring it into many of my conversations. I was actually going to talk about mushrooms as I spoke today, and then God had other ideas, so I did not. But there is a lot of interest in like learning about nature and connecting with nature, and not everybody's like, some kids want to play video games, and some kids want to spend time in the bush, and some kids want to do both. So there is a variety there, but having the skills and knowing about different plants and uses and mushrooms and different things like that is definitely good for building relationship, and there's a lot of people that are wanting to learn about that. So we're hoping, I enjoy going for a walk with a kid and just talking about the different things we see. During the hiking skill at camp this summer, it was fun to be able to go, and it's often more the staff, it's not so much the little kids wondering what everything is, but, oh, what is that? Or, and then I can say, oh, there's this and you can use it for this, or let's eat this. And I have a video of eating ants together with a bunch of kids, and they're having a great time, so that was really cute. But yeah, there is definitely interest in learning about the land and things, and I have a lot of interest in that, so I think that's a way to really spend time together with people, because walking through the bush looking through mushrooms takes a long time, and you're just puttering along, and then it gives a lot of good time where you can have good conversations too. And there's so many good lessons with mushrooms too, so if you wanted to be here for hours, I could regale you, but yeah.
Is that something that, I guess I would make a couple of assumptions, but I would assume that the older generation would value that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Is that something that has helped you in connecting with the older generation, or having a little bit more of this is a trustworthy or a good person or whatever, because you're not just like, yay, video games, right? or I don't know how much you, like, your ministry is mostly with the youth, so I don't know how much you have interacted with some of the older people, or, had some conversations about your interests there. But
So the question is if that has helped me with building bridges with the older generation. That, I think there's less of the older people that I would talk to. There's a few grandparents where I'll give a ride or we'll spend time together in the vehicle. And so where it depends very much on the people. There's a lot of that knowledge that has been lost, and some people are very interested in it. At one point, it was very much a divide between if you are a Christian, you don't know about any of the nature stuff because so much of that was spiritually based at one point. So then I would speak mostly with the older believers that I think don't know a whole lot about different stuff, or with nature things, like they would have gone hunting or they would have known people that were hunting. But the idea of, there would be some where it's like, oh yeah, I think we did do some kind of thing like that before, or I remember my granny doing this. There's one lady that comes to church, or a few ladies that come to our church where I will talk with them. I forget what she said was a great remedy. Oh, I should ask her again. But anyway, something that healed her bruise within a day or something, I forget. But, so I think, I don't know if it builds trust or not. That, I guess they haven't told me, but it is fun to be able to talk about it. And some of them have been interested in it, and then other people, it's like, oh yeah, they don't care about talking about that, so then you avoid it. Yeah.
When you mentioned that part about it just about being overlooked about permission to the land, and basically that was very disrespectful and so on. I've been very intrigued in the last, I'm not sure how many years it's been now, but at the beginning of a Jets game, let's say, there's always this introduction before the national anthem, like just reminding everyone that this is, the land that, whatever. It's all about who was here first and all that. Do you get a lot of that out there too, where there's this, people want to just make very sure, like, that this, like, who the predecessors were here and all that, like, or what? What's it like living in and among these people, let's say, when it comes to that reminder of nature, entitlement, or whatever you want to call it?
So the question is about, land acknowledgements and what it's like to work amongst that. Well, all of Thompson is Nelson House's traditional lands and also their treaty lands. So that was, between them and the government and God was said, this is your land. And so there is, that would be, at official things or at at a graduation, there would be a land acknowledgement. But there wouldn't be generally throughout other things, or it's not like every conversation you're having with people, you're acknowledging the land or that idea. So I think it wouldn't be very much different. It's good to recognize that, and I think, let me think what I'm trying to say. And where the campsite was on their treaty lands, or their land, where the current site is not on anybody's land. But, does that kind of answer your question? Yeah. It's like, I don't think it's very much different. But it might depend on which job you're in and where you're working and stuff. There's a city reserve, or part of Nelson House is within Thompson as well, and they have their own gas station and their own hotel and restaurant and stuff too, and housing.
I'm told that in the public school systems around here that there's more and more, I don't know, obligation to learn about the native spirituality and those kind of things. Some would say it's actually getting kind of pushed. Is there anything you can say about that? Is this what has brought this on? Or I don't know exactly what to ask about it, but just something about that.
So about how, native spirituality being pushed in the public school system. I think Morgan knows a lot more, my boss, and it's interesting because he's talked with a lot of elders in the different communities, and they're saying what is being pushed is not what was traditional here. It is, a lot of what is being pushed is the government being like, we took this all away and we kept it all, so now let's make some kind of conglomeration of everything and push that. So really what is being presented in a lot of the schools is not what was traditionally done and is forsaking a lot of even the helpful parts and the teachings that were within it. So it is definitely there in the school, and I think some parts are good to learn about, but yeah, it is not what it was in the Thompson area. It is a mixture of what was in the many different communities in BC and Alberta and Saskatchewan and Ontario and Quebec, and it's just all being put into one. Yeah. Like the concept, yeah, normally North America is referred to as Turtle Island, and there's no turtles up north, so they wouldn't have been considered a turtle because there's no turtles. So stuff like that where it doesn't even make sense. I don't have a problem calling it Turtle Island because, yeah, I could go into the full creation story and stuff like that and how that was a part of a traditional creation story. But yeah, does that answer your question? Sure. It goes all over the place. There you go. Yes, Dad.
I was going to put you on the spot a bit and ask, what are some of the personal sacrifices along the way, or things where we really have to sweat it out and wonder, is it worth it? And, some of the costs that happen in your own spirit.
Oh, my dad asked about, yeah, personal costs or sacrifices that I've seen through being there. Yeah, there definitely have been some things. I think being, not being right with my nieces and nephew as they're growing up or seeing that same stuff. I like being a part of their life, and I like that they still know me and remember me, and I can see them quite a bit. But there's that. There have been definitely times where I want to get married, and there's not a lot of Christian men in Thompson. There's very few. So, that is something where I feel like because I know I need to stay where I am. I have, in some cases, sacrificed. But I know God is faithful there too, and that doesn't mean that, yeah, He can work wonderfully. And I'm not very concerned about that right now. But yeah, that has been one thing where at times it has felt like a sacrifice, okay, God, you better do something, because now I'm giving up, opportunities. Yeah, that would be some of the things.
I think we should be specifically praying both for you and also for the youth. I know that a lot of us do care for the youth up north, so how specifically do you pray for both you and the youth?
So how specifically can you guys be praying for me and the youth? I think for me that I would just continually cling to Jesus and cling to Him for everything. That I would put that relationship first and not let anything get in the way of that or take away. That I would stay on fire and not become apathetic. I think, so much of anything, and whether ministry or life or serving God, comes from that. And I think for the youth, maybe for identity, and that they would know who God is, and that they would know who God says they are, and be able to live through that, and rather than through, insecurities or worries or fear, and that they would see that He is worth it.
Change the subject a little. Is there excitement because you have First Nations premiere?
Ooh. Is there excitement because we have a First Nations premiere? I have seen excitement on Facebook. I have not talked with anybody personally about it yet, but I have seen people posting about it, so probably there is,
How have you found throughout your time up north that, I'm assuming sometimes for somebody on the mission field, it's hard to have friends who pour into you. Brian and Tricia talked about not having a lot of reciprocal friendships. So how is that area of your life these days?
Question is, how is it like, with having friends that are reciprocal and pour into me. For a while, it was very, very lonely. I had very few friends or people where I felt I could be poured into by and pour into them. In the last number of years, it has been really good. There's one couple that I've spent time with almost weekly, or since COVID was pretty much weekly, and I have another friend that we hang out with multiple times a week often, or will stop by. So that has been a huge blessing. Now that couple is moving in the next few months, and possibly that other friend is moving this summer. So that is sad, but this last fall I started connecting a lot more with the wives of the other missionary units. And so I've spent a lot more time with their husbands because we're driving around to places and they're staying home with the kids. This last year, they started taking time every week where just us ladies would get together and pray for each other and share. And that has been really good, building that team, and also just the depth of friendship has been growing within that as well. So I feel like I am poured into, and I have or situations of that. I don't feel like I'm just running on empty, or I don't have any people giving to me. And there's people, a few people from here that I video chat with too, and that is good.
Those people that you mentioned, are they basically part of your mission, or would you be with the different mission at the Thompson, or?
The people that I'm meeting with,
Or
oh yeah. The people that I connect with, yeah, the wives, those ones, they are full-time missionaries with the organization. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the other friends not connected other than knowing stuff. Yeah.
How would you get financial support for that? Where is that at?
Where's my financial situation at?
Maybe you don't want to talk about it.
I'm happy to talk about it. I don't mind. I won't give you I don't know all the specifics right now. It is enough to live off of. It is not a lot of extra. Yes, especially, I get a lot of year-end donations in December that then they're huge and they carry me through most of the months so I can have a full paycheck for a number of months. And then right now I'm getting to the months where it's like, oh yes, they will be very low the next few months. But now I know that and I can budget for that the rest of the year. But yes, it is not, my monthly support isn't enough for a full paycheck every month of the year. But it is enough to live off of.
Monthly paycheck be percentage-wise of what you're aiming for?
I don't actually know. I'm sorry to say. Because they give the recommended amount, but the recommended amount includes the deductions. And so I just know what I receive. And yeah, sorry to say I should have that number, but yeah. It is. Yeah, I guess if I'm till the end of that, it is at 55 to 60% of the recommended amount for the month, for these next few months. The big year-end donations make it a full paycheck until August-ish.
Is there anything about the culture there that you feel wish was more part of our culture, like as far as the way we do things, or maybe even how we connect with each other? I don't know.
So is there anything about the culture there that I wish was more a part of this culture? One thing that I have learned a lot throughout the years, I probably even shared this here, is just like the generosity and sharing. Maybe it was more even our family, but like the fact that, oh, this is mine, so then it's for me. So it's not like if I buy myself a snack, it's mine. And I'm not gonna share it unless I feel extra caring, then I will let you have some of it. Or that idea, but you would never ask or assume that you would get some. It's for me to decide whether I want to share or not. Whereas I've seen, amongst many of the youth, many of them basically living in a lot of poverty. If they have some money, they will buy treats for all of their friends and they will share. And I just assume now if somebody opens a bag of chips in front of me, I'm gonna have some. It is part of that and we will all get to participate in that. So the communalness, or maybe the focus on, it's not about me, it's about us. I think is a good thing. And that can be difficult then if there's one person that has a really good paying job and is getting a lot of money that other people then want to take advantage of that, or it's like, oh, you should give to me. So that there is difficulties there too. But I also see a lot of good things in the just choosing to be generous and sharing and caring in that way.
How about senior care and family development?
Oh, so about senior care, elders are very, very highly respected. To be called a granny is a good thing, and to be an elder, that is, a very positive thing. And it depends on the family and stuff, how that gets treated. If it is a healthy family, then elders are taken care of very well. There are definitely families with a lot of addiction and brokenness where I see it, and it's like, that is just really sad. But overall, there is a high emphasis and a high respect placed on elders and making sure they are cared for and, honored, not looked down upon. How about laughter, like with elders or with everybody?
In the culture.
Because, you listen to a granny laugh, that's a good thing. No, laughter is a huge part of stuff too. And that's a very blanket statement. No, laughter is definitely beautiful, and there is a lot of laughing even in the midst of pain and anguish and situations where things are really hard. Then often there's also beautiful chances to laugh together and laugh loud. There's the joking about the aunties laughing or whatever, and just to be an Indigenous auntie is a beautiful thing, and just the loud laughter, and it is wonderful. Yeah. And I get people to laugh sometimes too, so that's good. It took me a while to figure out, or I could make kids laugh or say something that they would find humorous. But now if I get like a granny to laugh, then it's like, yes, I know the culture, but I don't know why. Subconscious kind of. Yeah.
So you're out there to spread the gospel and share the love of Jesus and all that. Do you get some of it coming back at you where they're trying to convert you? Or how that would be worded, I guess? But.
So do I have people trying to convert me back to something else? That I have not had. No, I think the people that would be very in on that belief system would generally be a little bit more closed or not wanting to convert other people from outside of the culture towards it. So that I haven't, I don't think I've had anybody trying to make me believe what they believe. And it's also very much, it's not a pressuring type of culture. It would be you present it and allow people to choose for themselves. And it's not you should be doing this. Even when sharing the gospel, we can't, it's here is what we believe, here is the truth, and here is why we believe it, but it's not hey, you need to be believing this, or that kind of thing, because that doesn't go over very well. And it's a lot of trusting people to think for themselves and come to the right conclusions. So I know there's one older man that attends my church, and he's mentioned, he does have a brother that he has witnessed to and spoke quite boldly about God, who has rejected it. And now it's that brother knows, and he knows where to go. And if I kept telling him now, I would be insulting his intelligence and his ability to think through things. So, and I think there is a time and place, even when people might be insulted, to continue to share. But that would be within the cultural religion as well, where it wouldn't be a force upon anybody kind of thing.
So if you were to express interest in, let's say, partaking of, I'm not sure what it's called when they have a circle around the drum or something, and kind of singing a song or whatever. If you were just to show interest and want to, hey, can you teach me this? How would that go over?
There are certain things where there are certain places where you can go and you can learn about stuff. So there's, for a community sweat lodge or that kind of thing, there it's normally women and men separately. There's certain ones in the community where I could probably just show up and I could go and I could be a part of it. There's certain things, where there you still would want to honor it the way, things are done there. So there ladies wear a skirt. So if I'd show up in pants, then probably I wouldn't be very welcomed in. So within the the guidelines and the rules that they have. If I wanted to participate, I probably could be. There would be certain things that, if I wanted to participate, it would be through invitation. Or there's certain things too of asking wisdom or advice or learning about some cultural things. You can't just go and ask it. That's to show respect and respect for the level of question that is. There's often an offering of tobacco to the person who would share it to you, or you would give them a little bit of tobacco in exchange for the information, just to, I think, show respect. So that would be a thing for some of those things. So it very much depends on the situation. Where, yeah, none of that has been where I have been at. Some of my coworkers have been in different situations where they have been more invited to different things, and so work through that. But that hasn't been my situation.
How about one more question, and we'll wrap it up?
Do you see mainly females or males, or pretty equal amounts showing up to camp and showing up to salt or anchor quarters?
So do we see mainly females or males showing up to the different things? There it depends on the group and where it is and the season. So yeah, at camp it is a little bit more females, but we also had more female staff, so we could have more female cabins than male cabins. Yeah, a year ago, teen camp, we only had 2 guys that ended up showing up, which was quite handy for teen camp. You have a lot less worry about issues if it's only 2 guys and 15 girls. But no, normally it is a little bit more even. This last summer was fairly even, girls and guys, and there depends on the group and who's coming and who's inviting who. But so it could be very much even like the youth group here, where I remember at one point there was 2 guys and 7 girls, and then it would switch completely the other way around. So yeah, I think it would be very much different from time to time.
Good. Well, thanks for the participation. It was good. I think this has probably sparked more questions. But I'd encourage all of you to reach out to Kyla with an email or a message or whatever as she comes to your mind and your heart, and pray for her. And we're going to just end this all by actually praying for you. So if you of you want to just come forward and we'll just lay hands on you, are you good at that? Mm-hmm. And just pray a blessing on you as you go from here. And I just want to say thank you for coming. It was just a blessing to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Father God, for this time together. And again, just for putting it on Kyla's heart to make the sacrifices to go and live in a different culture up north. And it's been so neat to see how she has been obedient to that, and now where she is like feeling that that's basically at home out there for her, and how she feels that you are still calling her there to stay and to be part of the communities there, and thank you that you have given her some close relationships, or even maybe mentors over the last few years especially, and as some of those now are moving on or elsewhere, I ask that you would bring someone else into her life locally out there that could be a safe place for Kyla to be able to just feel cared for, a place where she could share, just be real and share anything with, and so I ask for your provision in that area.
Thank you, Father, for the powerful work you're doing through Kyla, and how you have sustained her, and how your provision is always just what we need and often way more than what we need. Thank you for how they have been provided with this wonderful camp situation. And I ask that you would continue to provide for Kyla and that you would bless her and strengthen her in ways that we can't even imagine now. Thank you for your work that you're doing as you continue to work powerfully through her and glorifying yourself, shining the light of hope in the north. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Jesus, for the hope that we have in you. And Lord, I pray that you would just continually fill up Kyla with your Spirit, that she would be refreshed as she is on the front lines. She's pouring and pouring out your love, and I pray you just continually fill her up as she's outpouring. Lord, give her gentle reminders when she is running off her own steam, Lord, to cling to you, to fall on you as her provider. And I praise you that you have been faithful in her life, and I praise you for what you're going to do. Just ask that, you'd comfort and provide for her as you know her needs even better than any of us or even herself. So we just entrust her to you, and we praise you for the work that you're doing through her.
Father, I thank you for Kyla, and thank you for your work in and through her, for the joy that she has. And Father, thank you, Jesse already prayed for the amazing work that you did with the camp, Lord, and your provision there. And God, we just pray for your continued mighty hand over that place. And God, as people are going to be working there and building, Lord, and as advocates used for campers, Lord, that you would just do your mighty work, Lord, what you want to do, and that you would draw kids to yourself, that people would come to know you, come to an understanding and knowledge of who you are, Jesus, and that you would continue to transform people, and not only the kids, God, but their families as well, God, and the communities, that you would continue to do your mighty work. And Lord, I just pray for Kyla. Lord, she desires you, and God, we are pulled in this world, and you see that. And Father, I just pray that you would continue to encourage Kyla in her seeking of you, in her trusting of you, in her, spending time in your word, God, and getting to know you more and growing in you, Lord. I just pray that you would bless her and encourage her and draw her closer to you, Jesus, that she would continue and grow and wholeheartedly serving you, Jesus, faithfully every day, God. That she would be able to receive your grace, forgiveness, and your love, God, and that you just continue to use her, Lord, in the way that you want to use her, God. Continue to bless her, and God, that you would just continue to provide for her, God, for her needs. Lord, you see her desire to get married and to journey with a man, God, in a marriage relationship, God. And we just, pray that your will would be done, God. Thank you that she is content with how things are right now. And God, if it is your will, that you would just work that out for her. But God, that she would just continue to be faithful to you, Jesus, trusting you, and just growing in her love for you, Jesus, and just continuing to be faithful to you each day, God. Thank you, Jesus. I just ask for your protection too as she travels home tomorrow, God, that you just keep her safe and just, bless her as she transitions back home and into the upcoming days and weeks, God, that you would continue to do your work in and through her and just help her with all of that and just keep her eyes on you. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Heavenly Father, I am reminded that we are a body and that you have given each one of us gifts, and you've given us, each one of us, a purpose and a place to extend your kingdom. And it's so clear For it has become so clear to me just in this morning that you have given Kyla an amazing gift, that she has a very specific role in this body. And without her, our body would be incomplete. It would be missing an arm or a leg or an ear. And so I thank you for giving her the heart that you have given her the spirit of your power to go into the dark places and to shine her light, and far above that, shine your light through her. I ask for this church body that we would rally behind her, that you would bring her to mind over this next year, that we would have open pockets and open minds to support her, to reach out, to interact, to let her know that she isn't alone, that we are the army behind her, cheering her on. Thank you that you said that you will never leave us nor forsake us, and we can rest in that promise. We love you dearly. We ask all these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. All right, go in peace.